Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Wrap, brought to you by Michigan Medicine Headlines. I'm Dan Ellman with the Department of Communication.
And I'm Bailey Merzick, back as Dan's co-host for the day. Soon, we'll be joined by members of the team behind Patient Safety Awareness Week, who will discuss why it's so important and some of the ongoing initiatives at Michigan Medicine.
Now, before we get into that conversation, be sure you go back and listen to all the important episodes of The Wrap you may have missed. You can find the shows on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or any other podcast hosting platform. New episodes can also be found on the Michigan Medicine YouTube channel and as part of the Headlines Week in Review.
And on that note, let's bring in Pat Posa and Hillary McConaughey to preview Patient Safety Awareness Week, which will take place from March 12th through the 18th. Thank you both for joining us today.
Yeah. So first, what are your roles here at Michigan Medicine, and how does that role sort of fit in with Patient Safety Awareness Week?
So I work as a nurse primarily, that's my background educationally. And currently I work in ambulatory care as a staff specialist, which is kind of a broad title in ambulatory care. I do a variety of things to support our executive team, work on quality initiatives, and help nursing leadership as a whole. That has also allowed me to work on some regulatory and patient safety initiatives. So my role differs a little bit in that it's not all patient safety focused, but it has been a piece of my work. Predominantly, I help administrate our monthly serious safety event scoring team. So that's been a piece also where I've been connected, and then also have been looped into this team by supporting the last couple of years the Patient Safety Awareness Week.
I'm Pat Posa. My current role is I'm the Quality and Safety Program Manager for the adult hospital. So as it says in my role, I'm all about patient safety, but also quality. So similar to Hillary, I lead our scoring team where we look at and score safety events that occur in the hospital, but do a variety of other things, overseeing quality and safety in the adult hospital arena. And related to Patient Safety Awareness Week, based on my role, I've been part of the group, including Hillary and others from the quality department around the organization, to put together what we have in store for Patient Safety Awareness Week.
Yeah, so going off of that, can either of you talk, because Patient Safety Awareness Week is something that's not only recognized at Michigan Medicine, it's more widely spread. So what are the origins and the purpose of Patient Safety Awareness Week?
So I can start, and Hillary, please chime in. So it actually was initiated by the National Patient Safety Foundation back in 2002. We have known for a while that errors occur in hospitals, but the patient safety movement really began in the late 90s in relationship to some key pivotal papers that came out to Err, and then the book To Err is Human, where we realized that there were a significant amount of deaths related to medical error in hospitals. Up to 98,000 was the original quote from the IOM report back in 1999. So this Patient Safety Awareness Week then highlights. So it's actually a worldwide event, right? And so different patient safety organizations will send out a lot of information to patients on helping them understand their role in keeping themselves safe. But for us here at Michigan Medicine, it's about raising that awareness, highlighting the role that we as medical professionals have. My background is a nurse as well as Hillary, to ensure that we keep our patients safe.
And I'll just add something new that I learned in kind of looking this information up, was that the National Patient Safety Foundation actually merged with the Institute for Healthcare Improvement, known as IHI. So IHI is now kind of the current sponsor of this week. World, you might see that if you wonder, what that refers to. That's that organization. And I would just echo, what Pat said. I think it's really meant to be a week to celebrate the work that's being done, and just recognize the work that we do day in and day out with regards to patient safety, and celebrate that by some of the fun things that we have planned.
All right, so let's talk about that work a little bit. What are some of the ongoing safety improvements and initiatives currently taking place around the organization?
So I thought it was probably good to highlight the safety coach program, as that's something that is really growing. Currently, we have 107 coaches, and that's across all 3 segments. So adult hospital, C&W, and ambulatory care. Each of them have a group that ranges in the 30s, so pretty close to equal. And they'll have another cohort graduating in April. But this is a great group because it's made up of frontline staff, that want to be coaches. They want to be involved in spreading HRO culture and helping their fellow team members. And the coaches, do ongoing development by attending monthly meetings, networking amongst each other. So really supporting each other within and across the segments, and working and, reaching out with leadership so that there's support and communication going both ways. But I think, we have a strong group in ambulatory care that's actually led by Leah Davis. They have leaders across the segment, but just a strong group that's really committed to working together.
Yeah, Hillary, that's a great program. And I think one of the things to highlight about what's going on in the organization is really our work on our journey to become a high reliable organization with our safety promise, as well as some key skills to help prevent errors and keep patients safe. So the universal skills as well as our relationship skills. So I think that's a big piece of how we're improving safety in the organization. Also, safety huddles are done every day. And this is a time where staff from different areas across the organization, each of the segments has safety huddles. They can come and share safety concerns, and that so that they raise awareness, but also we can help mitigate those concerns.
So you mentioned huddles. So the safety huddles are going to be one of the things that I think will be leveraged to promote Patient Safety Awareness Week. But some of the fun giveaways and activities and other things that are taking place, can either of you talk about some of the things that will be going on during the week?
So we have a variety of different things. I think probably the most fun for people is our K card, which is going to be accessible by QR code or link. And that is a listing of, I believe, 5, correct me if I'm wrong, Pat. Okay, 5 different activities, easy to accomplish, things that people most often, they're doing on a regular basis, in addition to the employee engagement survey. So if you accomplish those and submit your K card by the end of the week, which is really just an online checklist, then you can be entered into a drawing for some gift cards that we're going to give away. And that's across all segments and all roles. So everyone's eligible, to participate in that.
Yeah, and I think that it was a success last year when we did it, and it helps reinforce some of those safety behaviors. One of the other things that's happening is we have some giveaways, and so we'll have in the adult hospitals, we're doing giveaway stations at entrances and near the cafeteria, where we can just talk to people about safety and give them some stuff.
We all love giveaways.
Full pocket jogger, jotter, and to give away this year, which is new, and then good old hand sanitizer, because you can never have enough of that.
Amen to that. All right. So I know a lot of the patient safety work, we're a huge organization, and a lot of people think that, you have to be on the front line or on a unit in order to really contribute to patient safety. What are some things that all of us can do to contribute to making Michigan medicine a safe environment for our patients?
So I think, one thing that speaks to it doesn't have to be something big, or monumentous. It can be ingrained in your everyday work. Like Pat said, we already have daily huddles, we have rounding, we have structures that already exist. And those are easy ways to bring in further patient safety work, whether it be a time for closed loop communication with your group, reviewing reports or follow-up that has occurred based on reports. Or just, good catches or celebrating the team. I think integrating it into communication that's already taking place to help reduce, burden and workload is a great way to integrate it into teams.
Yeah, everyone has a role, as Hillary said, and it's really about if you are involved in something that just doesn't feel right and you have a concern, it's about speaking up and sharing that concern. And it could be if you're in the cafeteria and you notice something out of place that could be a trip hazard, and which could result in someone falling. So any type of, so you don't have to be in a clinical unit. You can be in any role and anywhere and just speaking up.
Yes, that's great information. Thank you both for sharing all of that with us about patient safety and also giving us a little sneak peek at what's coming next week. But before we say goodbye, of course, it's time for the lightning round where we ask one of our guests 4 quick fire questions. Hillary, your name is first alphabetically, so you are in the hot seat today. Ready to go?
Sure thing. Yep.
All right, so meteorological winter is finally over, even if winter is officially not done. What are you most looking forward to this spring or summer?
Summer would probably be just being in Michigan on a sunny day, preferably on a lake.
And March is Women's History Month. So if you could go back and meet one woman from history, who would it be and why?
I think that is a tough one. I would have to pick Martha Washington. I think it's just an interesting period of time, and would love to just learn more about her and that period of time in our nation's history.
I agree. It's a fascinating time. All right. So recently I went on a road trip down to Florida. What is the best road trip you remember taking?
So I had many of them as a kid, but I think the most recent and memorable one was my family and I road trip to Maine. The summer of COVID, so 2020, and that was about a 17-hour drive. Longest I had driven in quite a while, but well worth it.
And finally, what is one piece of advice you wish you had been given when you were younger?
I think I probably was given the advice that I wish I had listened to, and there's a long list, but I think just, trust that things will work out, and be, happy and grateful for the moment that you have, look for the positives.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Hillary, for joining us today and previewing Patient Safety Awareness Week. And be sure you stay tuned to Headlines next week for even more information on the week and why it's so important here at Michigan Medicine. You'll find that story at mmheadlines.org. All right, Bailey. So I asked Hillary about her favorite road trip that she's ever taken. What about you?
So I'm not a big road trip person. I'm more of like get in a plane and get there in a couple of hours. But we did used to road trip to Florida when I was younger. So Florida was always my favorite place to go on a road trip. So what about you? As I'm assuming that Florida is what you're going to say, but what about?
Yeah, so I obviously just went to Florida, and also as a kid used to go to Florida all the time when we would road trip down there as a family. But the longest trip I've actually ever taken is my brother and I drove from San Diego to Chicago, and that was a trek. And that took about a week, and we went up the coast, like the Pacific Coast Highway. Then we cut over through the Rocky Mountains and into Denver, and then over to Chicago. And it was amazing. I mean, the country's beautiful. And there's so many places, if you did just fly over it, you'd have no idea. Like I loved driving through Wyoming. It was my favorite place. It was just open land. Nobody was there, which might be why I loved it. But it was beautiful. And you just have miles and miles of mountains in the background and dirt and open fields. And it was great. So that's definitely, up there in terms of my favorite road trips.
Well, hopefully we have some good weather coming soon so we can start taking some more road trips.
Yeah.
All right. So it's time for the weekly trivia contest. This week's question is, a new wellness website was recently created for which group at Michigan Medicine? Once again, a new wellness website was recently created for which group at Michigan Medicine? You can find the answer in this week's Headlines stories, and once you know it, you can send it to headlines@med.umich.edu for the chance to win a prize.
And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you, Pat and Hillary, for joining us. And thanks, as always, to all of our listeners and viewers for everything you do for patients, families, and each other. We'll see you next time.